I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.
All right. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Um, the links are in the description box. The links are in the description box because I I'm not gonna spend all a long time on this. Now it's April the 1st. It might be April Fool's Day, right? So it's April the 1st, Tuesday, Wednesday, April the 1st. Um, and when I saw this yesterday as I was leaving for work, Um, I see a lot of people making videos about it. I saw a little bit of Candace Owens commentary a few minutes ago, so I decided to go ahead. Let me go ahead and do a live stream on it. This is going to raise a lot more questions than answer. It was already bad enough that it's impossible to uh break the weapon that was used on Charlie Kirk uh 6 months ago. I think that was September the 10th, 2025, when he was struck down by assassin's Bullett. And then there's footage of, as we all know, if you've been living under a rock, uh, there was a gunman on the roof. The person or persons jumped off climbed down from the building, uh, and briskly sped off. And it seems that the weapon, uh, they found a screwdriver, they found some things up on the rooftop, and so forth. And That was kind of amazed how you can break that type of weapon down. The weapon was reassembled. It was left in a wooded area, so forth, right? But I'm not gonna bore y'all. The recap, I guess some of y'all might know, you know, might excuse me, might know about this already. So let's hear a take from CBS.
Welcome back to Takeout. Lawyers for the person accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk are asking to delay a preliminary hearing that is set for May. And here's why. Tyler Robinson's defense team, in a new development in this case, is arguing that it needs time to review alcohol, tobacco, and firearms analysis that they contend could not, that's a direct quote, could not connect a bullet fragment recovered during the autopsy of Kirk with the rifle found near the scene of the crime. Question, is this meaningful? CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson joins us now to help us answer that question. I always turn to you, Jessica, with some of our hardest legal questions. So, is this meaningful?
I think it's meaningful, but it's not everything. What we really mean here is not that the ATF was able to rule out any connection between the bullets found at the autopsy and the bullets found in the rifle allegedly associated with Tyler Robinson. All this means is that ATF wasn't able to conclusively link the bullets in the autopsy with the bullets in the gun, again, allegedly connected to Tyler Robinson. So this just means there wasn't enough to say, yes, they are the same, this is a link. And the thing I would caution, and I understand from experts in this area, is that matching bullets can actually be a difficult business, whereas the matching the cases to the bullets, because there's more evidence that's left, there's more markings, can be easier. So I know people read this and they think, well, then they got the wrong guy. And I'm here to say, I don't think this is the end of the prosecution's case.
Now, I'm going to say and make this point. It depends on what type of bullet that was used. Is it your standard bullet? Is it your soft point bullet? Is it a hollow point? Is it full metal jacket? I don't think, if correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think people were. I don't think that we was told what type of bullet was used to gun down Charlie Kirk. So there's plenty of variables, that might be, on why the bullet is not looking like has been fragmented inside the body. That was fragmented. So was it fragmented because on impact, or fragmented because somebody manipulated it? So all intents and purposes, I'm not trying to play the conspiracy theorist, but at the same time, it actually depends on what type of bullet has been used. So she's right on that part.
And it's not, again, an explicit rule out of any connection.
But it does give an able defense team something to probe and quite possibly present as one component of reasonable doubt at trial.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and this is something that occurs in trials where sometimes the prosecution has imperfect evidence for the prosecution. And that's exactly where, as you know, the defense comes in and they say, well, I know that the prosecution has tried to build all these blocks and get you to the finish line of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but let's look at block number 3. There's some cracks there. And isn't that enough for reasonable doubt? We should, of course, remember, if this case does in fact go to trial, that really a win for the defense is convincing one defendant that there is reasonable doubt, because the prosecution has to build up the whole case, get proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and get a unanimous verdict.
Jessica, you can't solve this problem, neither can I, but there has been quite a bit of conspiratorial conversation about this case. And
let me say this. Let's say the bullet does not match, or should say, no, scratch that. Let's say the fragments cannot, positively can be verified, right? That it comes from the same weapon, but yet the defendant stated that yes, he did it, confessed it, right? There's and since she said there's might be one juror who's going to buck, who's going to not go along with the rest, right? Let's say one juror is not swayed by the majority. I believe that the death penalty will be off the I think the death penalty, even murder one, it was a capital offense. I think capital offense or murder one would be off the table. I think murder two, and murder two is there's capital murder, there's murder one, there's murder two, depending on what state you live in, right? And then there's manslaughter at the bottom, right? Because they couldn't find, because of the fragments and how suspiciously the gun was disassembled, and using quotation terms when I say assemble and disassembled, and a lot of the questionable antics and attitudes of the major players into this case, I believe though it would bode well if the people decide to go with murder two, have him serve 30-40 years in prison, as opposed to life in prison or in a capital offense, the death penalty. That's just how I'm looking at it, from my framework. Anyway, let me keep moving.
in some quarters of the far right in America. It's probably worth noting that this evidence, or lack thereof, does not enhance or underscore the validity of those conspiracy theories, but it probably gives them a little bit more oxygen.
Looking at Major Garrett sitting right there talking about the far right, I find that him talking about the far right very amusing, because Major Garrett, the anchor man, was an anchor at Fox News, and he's been with Fox News for over 20 years. Now he's on CBS. Now CBS is now taken over as a Fox News light. They're now a Fox News type. They're becoming conservative. Since the Ellisons bought, Paramount. It's kind of weird that Major Garrett saying far right when he's a conservative. Kind of amusing. I'm not really amused, but interesting to see that.
You're right on all counts. We cannot solve this. And the best I think that we can do is exactly what you're asking me to do, which is just explain what this means in plain terms and not say, whether or not we like this, whether or not this will be, productive. It's just, what does this mean for the case? And the thing I want to emphasize is this happens in a lot of cases where you aren't able to say for sure that there is a match of, sometimes it's bullets, sometimes it's different evidence, like scientific evidence, maybe it's DNA evidence, maybe it's cell tower evidence where it puts somebody in the general area. So, but it doesn't conclusively place them in a specific spot. So it doesn't rule it out, and it doesn't say absolutely this was that person. And I think that's really just what we need to think about with respect to this piece of evidence.
So anyway, let me move on to this lady right here. And since the assassination in that looked weird with where I stopped it at. That looked weird, but I want to say I think Candace, whether you love her, like her, or hate her, I think she's onto something. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't entertain conspiracy theories, but the more I'm looking at it, the weapon, how the weapon looked, what type is a Mauser, I think it's a 30-30, I think, a Rio 8, something like that. I know it's 30-30. You can't easily break that type of weapon in quick succession. Let's say within 30, 35 seconds, you can't just break that weapon down like that. So yeah. So here is Candace Owens' take on this from yesterday.
Okay, clocked you on another lie, because that was already a foregone conclusion. Entire world had just witnessed Charlie Kirk bleeding out. Okay, you can't save Erica from the internet already circulating these clips to the tune of billions of people who watched it worldwide. More crucially, if he was actually worried about Erica seeing the footage, common sense to me says that he would have grabbed the camera that was like, I don't know, a yardstick away from Charlie's face. Oh yeah, that camera that we've circled right here, that would have grabbed the action. That would have been the real up close shot of Charlie bleeding out.
Come on there, it's time.
Yeah. Yes, y'all, I'm broke. Yeah. I'm a dusty broke Mike who doesn't want to buy YouTube Premiere.
The camera from behind, making matters worse, once I actually saw the footage, it had no blood. We revealed that on the show, so now you can think through that. He was telling me he was trying to save Erica from seeing her husband die, but yet this was the most mild shot of all. There was not a drop of blood on Charlie's back as he went down. So what exactly was it that Terrell was racing to hide? What they were hiding, and I am going to speculate this boldly now, having read through these files and thought through everything that has happened, they were hiding was the fact that the bullet did not go through, did not pierce through Charlie. I believe that that was supposed to remain a state secret. The public was never supposed to have that piece of information. I feel pretty certain about that because after being told that the 30-06 was fired from a rifle a mere 150 yards away into the most delicate human neck, the assumption, all of us made the assumption, actually, we never even asked the question. Our assumption was just that it had gone through, of course. And I believe that that is the true reason why they moved to pave over the scene so quickly, because that was supposed to be the narrative. We've got the gun. We're going to say it was 30-06. We're going to say it passed through. We collected the evidence. Now it's paved through. Nobody can look. It's gone. But something happened. There was a divine intervention.
I think she said 30-06. I'm sorry, I said 30-30. My bad. But you know what? Let me just keep it moving because yeah, let me keep it moving on this.
Terrell showed me the back footage 2 days later on September 19th because I kept pressing him. Why are you being so weird? Why are you acting so strange? Why are you giving me so many excuses? Why are you telling me you're scared to send the footage because Google might hack you? That's bizarre. Why are you telling me you don't know how to send footage? You are an audiovisual company. You should know how to send big files. And so he eventually said, hey, I'll FaceTime you. I'll just FaceTime you. I'm not going to send you anything, but I'll FaceTime you. And on September 19th, he did that. And gratefully, I moved to record that FaceTime call because his energy made me uncomfortable.
Yo, rude. I heard about it. And I might want to go off on that maybe later this afternoon, rude. So stay tuned to that. I might go off on that because I just got off from work. So yeah, be patient. I might talk about that. I might want to talk about that later on, rude, because that one was crazy. That man had some fake breasts. Yeah, man. I got to talk about that. That was weird. He was on some weird fetish. Yeah, man. That right there was crazy. So I'm gonna try to get me some few winks of sleep. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do a live stream in the afternoon, hopefully before I go to work, because my work schedule changed. So yeah, I might go ahead and do that. So yeah. Anyway, let me keep it moving, y'all.
And later that day, I informed the public on my show that the bullet didn't go through. I said the oddest thing. It's like there was no blood in the back of Charlie. That's so strange. And this public revelation caused a mass internal panic at Turning Point USA. Do you want to know how I know that it caused panic? Because the very next day, on September 20th, Justin Strife was contacting my husband several times, asking him if I had recorded that FaceTime call with Terrell. It came across like an urgent matter. I was sitting in the living room. George came to me. He's like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but like Justin Strife is hitting me up. He's asking me if you recorded, what was he talking about? I said, what? Why does he care? Why is this urgent? Why are they following up with you? What's up? And he's like, I don't know. What? And then I explained to him what happened. And I said, honey, don't answer the question. I find the question in and of itself to be weird. Why do they care if I recorded and have the back footage? And guess what? I found out why. I found out. Do you want to know why they were feeling a bit of pressure? Who it was in particular that was placing pressure on Justin Strife and Frank Carney to determine whether or not I had recorded that back footage? The feds were. The FBI. The FBI was on the phone with Justin Strife, Frank Carney, and they were apparently speaking to the feds that day about.
Speaking about the back footage, right? I think Candace, she might be on to something, but at the same time, just like what the previous woman said, right? The fragments. Now, again, I'm about to sound hypocritical here, but I know somebody think BIGJ, you sound hypocritical here, but I don't think Candace realized that there's such thing as hollow point, soft point. Soft point bullets are you have that little. It's a soft point has that little rubber tip at a very little fine rubber tip. I don't know what that rubber. I think that rubber tip is there to expand the bullet on impact, unlike the regular hollow point ammunition. It's like a little orange tip or white tip for maximum penetration before exploding inside the object. or the target which you were shooting. Then there's Full Metal Jacket. We don't know what it is. So I don't think she. And then though there's a position where the person was shooting down. So I mean, she's on to something, but I think the issue is, I think her argument is the exit wound, right? And the fragments, rather than the fragments itself not matching, supposedly not matching the weapon. I could be wrong though, but anyway, I didn't see this entirely. So let's move it on to what she said next.
Whether or not I had recorded the footage. And why do you think this information was so important to the FBI?
Morning to Queen Sun Kiss. Morning to you. Yeah, like we gonna Rue. Rue. I you know what, Rue? I should have talk about this right now, but hey, too late now. Too late now. Yeah, too late now. Anyway.
Why would the feds be concerned about whether or not I had the back footage? I'm screen recording a FaceTime call. They've got it in 4K. They're not protecting Erica. It's everywhere. Unbeknownst to me at that time, this was also the exact day of Charlie's private burial. And yet, this is what they were consumed with. Erica was highly concerned with the back footage as well. So much so that rather than attending exclusively to her husband's private funeral, okay, the higher priority for Erica on that day was to curate a response to the public regarding why the bullet had not gone through. I want to say that again, okay? Responding to my episode where I simply told the public the truth, that there was no bullet that passed through, was deemed a higher priority than Erica being fully emotionally present at her husband's funeral. Her and Andrew were discussing this. They peeled off to the side and they conferenced the surgeon on the day of Charlie's actual funeral. They conferenced and called Dr. Lee Trotter. This is the single biggest lie that Erica Kirk would later tell me. She would insist to my face, and I did not believe her for 1 second, and I politely pushed back, that Andrew went rogue that day, that the surgeon went rogue too. The two of them had a discussion that she did not authorize, discussion that she was not privy to. The surgeon violated HIPAA. Andrew violated her privacy. And after that discussion, Andrew went double rogue and he tweeted about the nature of this discussion that he could not have had with the surgeon without Erica's permission. Erica lied. Erica and Andrew colluded on how to message to the public about this little fact that was never meant to be known to us. Dr. Lee Trotter did not violate HIPAA. In fact, he could sue her for defamation, in my personal opinion. She was the one that was on the phone with Andrew, and they were asking the doctor what they could tell the public, and it was Erica Kirk that said that Charlie ate healthy, and she bet he had a neck like Superman.
Yeah. Go.
Pretty obvious if we just pause and think about it. It was pretty girly and emotional. Man of Steel, he just eats healthy. That's not how serious trauma surgeons communicate, okay? It's just not. But the crucial point of Andrew's tweet that people are forgetting, and why I'm taking you back through this as before we get into these filings, is that on that day, as they were freaking out, feds calling me, my husband, feds calling Turning Point USA, putting pressure on me, my husband, Erica and Andrew on the side, trying to figure out how to message. The crucial part is that then when they did deliver this information to the public, they declared that the coroner found the bullet, not a fragment, the bullet. On September 20th, after the autopsy and the death certificate were issued, they communicated to the public the bullet was found beneath Charlie's skin, okay? We're gonna...
Queen said, not like Superman. Yeah. Yeah, somebody is, well, you know what, you know what, it's morbid. It's morbid. I'm not gonna go there. It's morbid. I'm not gonna go there.
We can read that statement together. They want you to forget these things. Andrew tweeted, I want to address some of the discussion about the lack of an exit wound with Charlie. I'm usually not interested in delving into most of this kind of chatter, and I apologize if this is somewhat graphic, but in this case, the fact that there wasn't an exit wound is probably another miracle, and I want people to know. I just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet absolutely should have gone through, which is very, very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc. But it didn't go through. Charlie's body stopped it. I mentioned to his doctor that there were dozens of staff, students, and special guests standing directly behind Charlie on the other side of the tent, and he replied, quote, it was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed. His bones.
Queen, I'm see again, this is asking more questions than answers at this point. Okay, you're asking. There's more questions than there are more answers. Since they said they found the entire bullet, now they're saying, "Oh man, no, there were fragments of the bullet." But wait a minute, you see, I'm over here like, ooh, y'all say you found the bullet, but now you only say you're finding fragments of the bullet. So my thing is, was it a full jacket bullet? A regular bullet? Was it a hollow point? Was it a soft point? Was it a full metal jacket bullet? Now it was a regular bullet, a regular 30-06 bullet. It would have passed through the body. Okay. It would pass through the neck and all of that. If it was a soft point or a hollow point, well, it would have been ballooned inside the body. That's if you just ask me. I never shot a soft point bullet though, but I have hollow points. Okay, I have hollow points. So I don't know. She might be on to something though, because they're covering like this, like the S-Team file. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say this, Queen. I think this had something to do with the S-Team files. Let's think about it, right? He could now. I'm being conspiratorial right now, even though I don't like to entertain spirit. Again, I'm being hypocritical here, because I said earlier I don't like to entertain conspiracy theories, but I'm gonna have to do this for the sake of what's being stated thus far. I think though, if the S-Team files were, I think he, being a force of personality that he was, I think he would have go against gang. Okay, he would go against Trump and gang if he was still here. Because he could be a competition against MAGA. He could have been competition against MAGA itself, or had somebody who has that clout. Same way like how Rockwell, 1967, and you know what? I actually alluded to this when Charlie Kirk first got, you know, the first week when he got killed. I compared his assassination to that of Lincoln Rockwell. Lincoln Rockwell was a white supremacist, a neo-Nazi. He was one of the few white people that went into the Nation of Islam and talked to Malcolm X in 1965, 64, 65. But in 1967, he ran for governor. I think it was governor of Virginia or senator from Virginia. And Rockwell was assassinated to cover up something else. I forgot what it was. It was another white supremacist that killed Lincoln Rockwell, because it was over some money or he was going too far on the let's wipe out the Negroes out rather than subjugating the Negro. I forgot what the idea was of taking Lincoln Rockwell out. But anyway, it's something similar to, I think, why they took Charlie Kirk out, for him not checking MAGA, for not him being the opposition to MAGA. You know, who knows?
So healthy, and the density was so impressive that he's like the Man of Steel. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. End quote. Andrew then concludes, in the end, the coroner did find the bullet just beneath the skin. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. Remarkable. Miraculous. Foremost, why would a coroner be finding anything? A coroner is not even like a health. They just say this person's dead. Park that aside. It's Andrew Colbert. Let's assume they met the medical examiner. Again, the bullet was found beneath the skin, not a fragment. It was recovered, and that was similarly echoed to me in the days that followed. But 3 days beyond that, I had a long conversation with Andrew, and I was very grateful for it. On September 23rd, he provided me with even more details about that Man of Steel tweet, because I was going, it doesn't sound real, Andrew. And I took meticulous notes, and I would be willing to testify under oath regarding what I was told from Andrew Kovach. He told me that the bullet traveled, and I'm going to show you this, so you, in case you're like me and you don't know about the vertebrae in the neck, that it traveled from C2, okay, think about the entry point, it's almost upward, down to C6, and then it moved downward into Charlie's thorax, where it was shattered.
Hey, it's Ashley.
Yeah, I'm broke. Yeah, I'm broke.
Okay. Another adjustment. Okay. Another adjustment, because first they found the bullet beneath his skin. Now suddenly the bullet is fragmented in his thorax. Then we're going to get Brian Harpole, who's going to say, no, it fragmented in his stomach, thorax, whatever he says. These are very important and relevant changes that they are making, because they're realizing that their story is not going to work. So why that change? Why did we go from, we got the bullet, coroner got the bullet, to actually, you know what? It's ricocheting and it's shattered. I'll give you my best guess. It's because at some point the feds realized that their initial plan was completely ruined by the back footage, that they had to pivot. And at first they pivoted, but it was sloppy. They had 24 hours. Andrew tweeted that they found the bullet. But the reality is, as my source who's close to the Robinson family told me, that family heirloom gun takes special bullets. In fact, I was told that there was no way the prosecution was going to be able to connect the bullets to that gun. I think the feds then realized that. First we got the bullet, then they quickly pivoted. There's no bullet. It's just a small fragment.
Okay. I'm you know what? Hold on. Let me do this real quick. Let me do this real quick. Yeah, I'll do this real quick because where's the overlay? Where's the overlay? Yeah. I'm gonna put the overlay up. Yeah, overlay. Yeah. It's on the fair use, y'all. On the fair use. But let me keep moving. Oh, you know what? Let me change the speed here. Let me change the speed. Shout out to MOT because I forgot to change the speed. Let's move up to 110. Yeah, let's change to 110.
Problem solved. Now we can have ATF say that it's inconclusive later down the line. There's another part of this that everyone is missing, and I want to stress it to you. They cannot even prove that the gun was fired. Say again, they cannot even prove that the gun was fired. Why is the media not telling you this? Have you guys realized that there's a big piece missing from the evidence? Where is the basic GSR test? Okay. Testing to see if you fired a weapon. It's a test that it puts some stuff on and it turns your hands, purple or bluish purple under the light. GSR test. Did they conduct that 33 hours later to see if Tyler Robinson had fired a weapon? Right? They could have.
You know what? I'm gonna say something unrelated. Y'all should have did that to Tory Lanez. Okay, y'all should have did that to Tory Lanez. Put that stuff in his hands and see who really fired the gun at Megan Thee Stallion. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna leave that alone. I just that just came to my head. That just came to my mind as soon as she said that. But anyway, let's keep it moving.
Actually brought in a bomb dog for that. No, they didn't do that. You remember the bomb dogs went into the field where the weapon was found. I broke that story, and they didn't find the weapon. That is literally impossible. It's literally impossible. There's no one that will go up there and tell you anything different. That a trained bomb dog, if they are taken into a field where there's a gun that is sitting that was recently fired, they will find the dog. They will find the gun.
See, right. I'm glad though I'm glad. Now this gun right here, you can't break that gun down like that. Not in 25 seconds. Okay. Now if I look at that gun, that's the stock, the barrel. It looks like with that bolt action like that. I mean, with the scope and all that, it's gonna take more than 30 seconds to break that everything down like that on that type of weapon. So, in the way he was running and walking away, I don't think that's. I mean, I could be wrong, but 30 seconds to break that down? Nah, I don't think so.
But apparently the bomb dogs missed it. And the gun that was eventually found, which my sources say they are convinced that the feds planted it when they arrived.
Right, Rooster. That's not a takedown rifle. I mean, a rifle like that, a rifle like that is usually some carbon fiber, plastic type. The stock and all that would have been folded. All of that. They did. I think he used a folding AR-10 platform. Could be. I mean, who knows? Who knows, King Rooster? Who knows?
Was not fired on September 10th. Okay. They knew Tyler Robinson fired it. They would have taken the bomb dogs, had him smell the dog. They would have had him smell the weapon, find the weapon, smell the person, and tell you that it's connected to him. The canines would have done that for them. They didn't do that. And the last thing I want to reiterate to you before we get into what these filings reveal is that there are a bunch of frauds right now that are telling you that they found Tyler Robinson's DNA on the gun. Okay. What they keep conveniently leaving out is that they found a total of 6 sets of prints on the gun. It is not shocking that Tyler Robinson's gun had Tyler Robinson's prints on it. That's not shocking. The question is, who took Robinson's gun and placed it into the field unfired? That's where we are at in this case. And so the big news yesterday was that the Bullett, which has now been conveniently reduced to a fragment, happened very quickly over a couple of days, has come back, and the ATF has concluded that they can't connect to the gun. It's inconclusive. And now the prosecution wants the corrupt FBI to conduct their own analysis. And I'm going to tell you what is very wrong with that, because I think it's pretty clear that the feds are working with Turning Point USA, and all evidence points to the fact that the feds are dirty in this case. Like I said, I have spoken to SWAT, local police departments, sources close to the accused, UVU students, people that work at UVU. Everyone is saying the feds are a part of a broader conspiracy. And based on the evidence I am seeing and based on these filings, which I am about to show you, I believe that. So while the people who are racing to delude you about this case are making tons of claims about the recent filing, we're going to actually take you through it. Tyler Robinson's team in this filing, just what we're looking at is they are asking for an extension, and we are going to show you the extraordinarily valid reasons as to why.
Okay. So we're gonna go over here. We're gonna go over to this channel. The Valhalla channel, and here's what he said. Let me scroll back a little bit. Yeah, let's go back to here. Here's what he said.
Because this was basically the one piece of evidence that the prosecution had to have to be able to convict him, and it doesn't sound like they're going to have it. The lawyers of Tyler Robinson on Friday requested a 6-month delay in a court hearing scheduled in May to review evidence that suggests the bullet that killed Charlie did not match the rifle. Robinson's lawyers wrote in recent court filing that the ATF was unable to identify the bullet recovered at autopsy, that the FBI is conducting a second comparative bullet analysis, but neither have been completed. It's going to be real interesting if the FBI report comes out and shows it does match when the ATF's doesn't. We're going to have to wait and see if they try some bullshit like that. And the most important part of the entire story is this right here. It said that based on what the final report show, the defense may very well decide to offer the testimony of the ATF firearm analysis as exculpatory evidence. So what exculpatory evidence is evidence that demonstrates that Tyler 6 months, and then adding this as exculpatory evidence is so that they can just get the entire case dropped before Tyler Robinson ever even goes to trial. So that's going to be their new attempt forward, and that would be pretty crazy. Now, what reporting is also saying is that there's, again, potentially 7 different people's DNA on Grandpa's old World War I Mauser that he had in the basement. By just Tyler Robinson was the only other person to grab it, but there's 7 other people's DNA on it. That sounds a little suspicious. What sounds more likely? I don't know. Well, we do know from the recent reporting that the bomb dogs from the sheriff's department were never able to find this magic 30-06, which they 1,000% would have been able to do if that weapon had been.
So the weapon's old, according to him, right? Weapon's old. 6 fingerprints, DNA. Okay. Then therefore, shouldn't everybody be a suspect rather than just one? If there's multiple sources of DNA, let me see what else. He said something else too. I hope I didn't pass that over. He said something else. So I hope I didn't pass it over.
That's that gun. We got some big problems, and this is going to explode all the, I quote, conspiracy theories now because, well, something else has got to be true, because now that we know that the magic 30-06 confirmed was obviously not what was used, well, then what the hell killed Charlie? TPUSA, you've got some explaining to do. Also, remember the steel neck, the magic steel neck story, and just was so
yeah. But let's go to Turning Point USA. Let's go to Turning Point USA because they about yes. Let's go to Turning Point USA channel. And I'm not gonna stay here very, very long on this, but they were trying to cook. They're cooking Candace on over here, man. They're trying to cook Candace about this. They're cooking Candace. They're cooking old dude earlier. Yeah. So I also got another link in the description box, but I'm not going to play it. It's just there for people who want to, you know, if they want to look things up. Keep it moving. All right.
And we're unable to determine that it came from the shooter's rifle. So, unfortunately, ballistic science is, in a lot of cases, a best guess, and in many other cases, pseudoscience. But what we know is it doesn't work like CSI Las Vegas. When a bullet hits something and deforms, which is what we've been talking about the whole time, we're assuming that the shooter probably used a hollow point or some other bullet that is functionally intended to deform when it hits something. And so when it does that, it doesn't come out in a nice, perfect form where you can see all the lands and grooves from the barrel and make a positive match. So in this case, they can't determine whether the bullet was fired from the rifle, but they also can't determine that it wasn't fired from the rifle. That's
Right.
effectively all they're saying. They're saying that there's some reasonable doubt that it could theoretically have been something else. Now, and I'm not making an affirmative declaration one way or another. I want people to understand that. This has nothing to do with what I think happened or what anybody else thinks happened. All I'm doing is looking at the facts. And as somebody who's been doing this for a very long time, knowing that most people just really don't understand much about firearms generally, and even in the firearms community who do understand firearms, generally don't really know a lot about ammunition.
Yeah, and so you're saying basically because the fragmentation of the bullet was so severe, I don't mean to sort of infer by your tone here, but you're saying, of course, this would be one of the options that, of course, you wouldn't be able to necessarily identify it.
Then notice that hold on. I'm gonna show whose channel it is. Now, this is Charlie Kirk's own channel. They went ahead and took his they went and took over his channel. The two of them. Somebody that have the thinking caps on. Somebody over here have to have the thinking caps on in the chat room. But Andrew, you told us that the bullet was found under Charlie's skin. Oh, wait, stop, hold on. Which one is Andrew? I forgot. Which one is Andrew? The bald-headed guy or the guy with the blue blazer? Oof. Exactly. They forgot what you put on social media platforms, so it stays there. Oof. Uh-oh. And white people acting mad up in this chat room. Oh, no, this channel has been hijacked by liars, thieves, and backstabber traitors who pretend to be Charlie's friends. They smile in his face while plotting to steal his legacy and cash in on his name. Real patriot, let's unsubscribe now. Stop feeding these grifting snakes their views and ad money. See, that's why I like about white folks. Because y'all doing this while Anton, see, you know what? Let me be quiet. Let me be quiet on this. There's some, how can I say it? Accountability. There's some accountability. I actually admire this. Y'all in that chat room. I admire you good white folks, and I'm using in quotation terms, by the way. Trying to put somebody in their try to hold them accountable.
Via forensic evidence with the gun. There's other ways you could. Now, the caliber matches, all of these kinds of things. But you know, I think what people expect is sort of the CSI version of reality.
A lot of people think, and I think this is a graphic you can see in TV shows or movies, where they'll take like a bunch of little pieces of metal out of like, you know,
thin air,
and then they'll like
well, here is the thing though. Here's the thing, Queen. Anton made another appearance on he made you know there was another video where Stephen A. Smith would kiss Anton's ass again. So I mean, like, you can't stop Anton now. You can't stop Anton now. He's you know, can't stop his ass anymore. So too late now. I warned y'all to stop his ass. But anyway, y'all didn't listen. Well, niggas didn't listen. Anyway, keep it moving.
All onto like a little, you know, machine, and then like the computer will assemble all the bits, and they'll just see it. Oh, they'll like bend the bits and reassemble the bullet, and then like green text will pop up that says confirmed
ding,
match.
ding, ding. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna read one of your tweets. I'm not gonna put it up on screen because you use some colorful language here, Justin. But you say completely and utterly misleading garbage about.
A bit further, it's actually very difficult to match a bullet to a rifle.
With rifle, which remember, we have a rifle with rounds that have political messages.
Right. And again, I respect that you're not trying to say this happened or that happened. You're just giving us the details. You're giving us the facts. All the usual suspects take it and run it. And then a bunch of saner voices come in and say, this is not something new.
Hold on.
Animation where they managed to reassemble the bullet and perfectly align the lands and grooves to match a barrel. None of that is real. That is not how science works. And then, you know, it was interesting to watch the internet last night. This story hits, all the usual suspects take it and run it. And then a bunch of saner voices come in and say, this is not something new. We've known that the bullet fragmented. We knew that, like, lining up perfectly
in the first days afterwards.
Yeah, lining it perfectly up to the rifle was going to be a challenge. But there's other ways that you could match in theory, right? And again, I respect that you're not trying to say this happened or that happened.
Wait, whoa. Hold on. No. We got to change the speed up to at least what? Okay, we change the speed. Yeah, right there. Let's change the speed.
I mean, you're just giving us the details. You're giving us the facts. There's other ways you could match a gun to a bullet, correct?
Yeah,
like
well, as an example, they could test the metal and show this is the same metal as the rounds that were recovered with the rifle. Which, remember, we have a rifle with rounds that have political messages engraved on them.
Okay, but what about what was on the that was claimed that was under the skin? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, hold on. Do it. I'm sorry. I mean, it needs to be called out. You know, a lot of things. You know what? A lot of things y'all let slide. You know, it's a lot of things y'all allow to slide. You know, like the guy called himself a saint. You know what? I'm being distracted. I'm being distracted. Let me get right back to where I was at. Anyway.
And the casing that they have from this also has a message engraved on it, apparently, that matches.
Sure.
Yeah, Justin.
I mean, I guess I'll even walk that back a bit further. It's actually very difficult to match a bullet to a rifle. So, for example, 30-06 as a cartridge uses the same bullet that's used in .308 Winchester. So even if you recovered a .308 diameter bullet that was perfectly intact, if you didn't have the rifle that it was fired from to match the lands and grooves, there would be no way for you to determine that it was fired from a rifle chambered in .308 Winchester or 30-06. And so then when you start mangling up bullets that are roughly about the same size, a lot of medium to large caliber rifles use projectiles that are roughly the same length, roughly the same weight, roughly the same diameter. So if you smash those up into pieces, you may not even, if they didn't have a rifle to compare it to, there's no guarantee that they would even be able to know what the caliber of the cartridge was beyond reasonable doubt. So it's a very inexact science. And in this case, you know, Candace Owens, I hate to bring her up, but she mentioned on her podcast on September 25th that the bullet was fragmented into pieces. So this is something that, you know, the people on that side of the fence have known for a long time. And this is, they're just basically milking more views and more audience out of the same information we already had.
Yeah, man, they trying to cook Candace. they trying to cook Candace. They trying to cook Candace. Yeah, usually they trace the bullet by checking the grooves on the injection part or the bullet extractor. You have to have the casing. Right. That's right. But I think, but the thing is, but what about the bullet under the skin? What about what the coroner said about the bullet under the skin? So you got to make which is it? Did was Charlie Kirk's body was like Superman? His body deflected the bullet and it went under the skin, or was it fragmented? Come on now, which is it? And I'm glad somebody in that comment section called it out. Well, what about the bullet being under the skin part? you know, But anyway, I'm a jump off of here, y'all. I'm gonna jump off of here, y'all. Y'all, I had to do a live stream on this. I had to do a live stream on this because it asked some more questions. So my question is, if the bullet doesn't fit, you must acquit, or should you acquit? All right, should you acquit? I think that Candace Owens, no matter how much we hate, well, I can't stand that woman, because that woman's evil. But a clock is right twice a day. I think Candace on to something. I really do. I really think Candace is on to something. How you gonna say the bullet was under somebody's flesh, and then you said next, then you said it's fragments of a bullet or shrapnel. Come on. And then that whole seeing the bullet into seeing the gunshot from seeing Charlie Kirk's death behind, in the back of his head. You see from the camera that's on the back of his head, seeing him being shot from the back. Seeing how he was, anyway, I'm not gonna play it over here. I'm not gonna play the footage over here. But Candace was like, well, where is the blood? At that point in time. Anyway, we can get out of here, y'all. Thank y'all for coming. And I'll see you next time. Y'all be easy, and stop sharing that. I might be back on this topic. Hold on, where because Rude Imp, shout to Rude Imp. I'm gonna talk about that Christy Noam's her husband, in that kinky sex scandal. Now do I see why she cheated. Now I see why her ass cheated. Man, she said, man, I chose the wrong man. This man wanted to be a woman. Yeah, that man wanted to be a woman. Man, I gotta. I sure didn't see them pink mist. Right. Yeah. That Chrissy Noam one is crazy as fuck though. That was crazy as hell though. So let me get out of here. Oh, by the way. Shh. By the way, yes. Let me go ahead and say, donations are very appreciative. Okay, donations is very appreciative over here. All right, you know, here's my QR code. Yeah, let me get out of here. Oh, and I got 2 interviews coming. 2 interviews coming down the pike. I'm gonna release those 2 videos the same day. Yeah, the same day, or no, the same week. I ain't gonna, because I'm due one Saturday, I'm due one Monday. Got two interviews coming. So that first one is gonna start some shit, I think. Yeah, but let me get out of here. Y'all be easy, and I'll see y'all next time. I'm out. Yeah, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.